So I'm calling this Terminal Breach. This is a card that I think I kind of overlooked a little bit. This is a 6-mana sorcery. It lets you put an artifact or creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. That permanent gains haste, just like Through the Breach. And when this permanent leaves the battlefield, it deals damage equal to its mana value to each creature. So it has a little bit of extra value over Through the Breach in that it can sweep the board after you attack, which is actually really relevant against Boros and Affinity. A lot of times you Through the Breach and it just doesn't quite kill them. And so at the very least, you're going to be able to get a good amount of value and then sweep the board. So it also gives you redundancy to Through the Breach, which I always thought was kind of an issue for this Eldrazi deck, was that you have 4 Through the Breaches and you have K command to dig for them, but you're not super duper good at grabbing the Through the Breaches. So having the redundancy is really nice. Yesterday, when I tried this deck off stream, I had Devourer of Destiny, which I thought was really important to have a density of exile enablers for Ulamog. However, I felt that because we had the terminal velocities in the deck also, the mana curve was just too high. So instead, we're playing Ancient Stirrings, which can help us, of course, find our big payoff, but it can also find us Mycospawn, which can find Bojuka Bog, can find Ugin's Labyrinth for the Imprintable, can find K Command, which can help us get stuff in exile too. I also really like the... maybe we should add Flashfires to the board also. Maybe that's better than Torpor Orb. I'm definitely down to kind of try it. It's very fun at the very least. Even though Orb might be better. Chrysalis is also nice because it stabilizes and ramps into your payoffs. It would be really nice to get a couple more copies in, but the build is kind of tight. But yeah, I think I'm down to play a couple Flashfires in the sideboard. New tech from our Is It opponent that totally owned us this morning. So this is just a card I noticed when I was scrolling through the set on Magic Online. It's not a card I mentioned in my YouTube video. I don't know how I overlooked it, but when I saw it scrolling through, I'm like, that's just an extra Through the Breach with upside, which I think is just very interesting. And the green-red deck that's pretty good at casting expensive cards. It's Breach for an extra mana, but it also the upside is kind of real. It didn't really come up yesterday, but I could definitely see it coming up against Boros and Affinity. Again, it's mostly just an extra Through the Breach, but an extra Through the Breach really nice. I also another thing is I don't like Yggdrasil. I think Yggdrasil sucks. Yggdrasil just sits there and does nothing so often. If we had an Imprintable and could turn 2 these, I'd probably keep. I think I should just mulligan. I think I should just keep this one. And then let's go ahead and put back the Stomping Ground, and then imprint the Ugin, the Ulamog, and try to Stirrings probably into another big thing. Or maybe we'll draw a big thing. Okay, so I've got the list right. Let me get it in the command. Even Woodling Vanilling Ulamog could be good. Well, I mean, you're just attacking for 7. That's not very good. It doesn't get the Annihilator triggers. Okay. Good Inquisition. Alright, so they kept 7. I mulled to 6. I feel like they should take the Talisman, right? Because it's my only green source. Alright, they didn't do that. Maybe a little bit punished for putting back the Stomping Ground now that we drew this. If they take Stirrings, we just didn't... Do we imprint Talisman? I mean, we're always going to imprint Talisman, yeah. There's not really much downside to doing so, because you could just put the Ulamog back in your hand later. They might have Witch Enchanter. Maybe. So they suspend a Profane Tutor, which means they're Necro? Talisman is a pretty fun draw. So... Of course, the problem with Ulamog here is that this is our thing in exile, so we can't really effectively Through the Breach right now. Even though we technically could cast it. Another thing, too, is they can maybe get Thoughtseize off the Profane Tutor. They are indeed playing Lantern, which is kind of a nightmare for us. Since we just can't really... I guess we have Meltdowns. Still kind of tough. They do name the Ugin's Lab, which makes sense. They have Profane Tutor coming down next turn 4 and Snaring Bridge. We kind of need to top deck right now, which we fail to do. I guess what we could end up doing is we could just end up hard casting hard casting Ulamogs to win the mill race. They're shuffling away this Codex Shredder. They can't win. That's true. Our mill plan is our anti-mill plan is pretty good. Yeah, I'm still shocked this card has like no downside. You know what I mean? Like obviously, like, you know, imprinting a card, you need to power this up, but you don't have to do that. Like at the very least, this is always a land that taps are colorless. Like City of Traders and Ancient Tomb, they have always downsides, always negative effects. It's like I just don't understand how this just ended up being such a like perfect soul land almost. I don't know. Don't they just let you draw Emmy? Yeah, you just eventually go to discard. It's weird. All right, so they have a few shuffle effects, so we may be in for a long one, folks. So we're gonna make them mill that. Then we draw Terminal Velocity, which doesn't do anything, and I guess I'll be just getting in for 4. They maybe have a bridge in their hand, and this Myco Synth Gardens will let them cast it. If they just don't have a bridge, they might just die. They make themselves shuffle main phase. Why? Why do they do that? Oh, Fatal Push, okay. That makes sense. Maybe I'll die to the Saga. Not very often you just die to Urza Saga, but it kind of looks like I will this game, right? No cards in exile for Ulamog. Well, I have this card. I have this Ulamog in exile, and then my bridge is needled. So they suspended Profane Tutor, so now I really want them to cast this bridge so that I can win with Emrakul discards. So we're probably not drawing that. Or they're going to cast the bridge and let me draw it, maybe. They didn't mill the Emrakul end of turn, which means that they are going to play the bridge. Which means that I am just not going to lose, because I'm just going to... Or, I don't know, maybe I could lose still. No Flashfire on the sideboard. I thought I updated the Mox Field. They should be here. I mean, let me double check that I didn't enter with the wrong 75. Yeah, they're here in the actual deck, and they're here at the Mox Field, so we got them. So they play the bridge. So now we just see, like, can they win? Are they going to be able to Pixis of Pandemonium me to death? I don't see like a lot of reason to play the Chrysalis. I need to be able to discard Emrakuls to hand size, and I'm not going to be able to attack with it. I guess maybe I could play this like hardcasted Ulamog. Doesn't the other Shredder exile Pixis? So Pixis does exile. The thing is, it's very tough for them to exile all of my Emrakuls. I have 4 of them before they deck. I mean, it's possible. Yeah, they could also have Academy Ruins. They do it. They have the Pixis. They have. Is that double Pixis? Okay, double Pixis probably wins. Yeah, I'll concede a double Pixis. Let's keep it going. Yeah, they could also have Surgical. That's true. Do you not think the 6-mana instead of 5 is a big deal, considering you think it's overlooked? I think it is a big deal, but I think redundancy to the combo and a deck with a ton of mana acceleration makes it playable. And so when I call it overlooked, I mean like this is a card that I don't know that I've seen anybody play. I think I could say I've seen no one play it. And the fact that I think it adds a lot to this archetype, and I liked it when I played it yesterday, is why I have maybe clickbaited you with the overlooked tag. I do think this is a matchup where moving away from the breaches could make some sense. I think we're gonna trim on some post board, and is this one of the scenarios we have to chat? As mentioned Yggdrasil. I've mentioned I hate Yggdrasil. I think that card sucks. So I don't. There hasn't been a lot of comments on it, but I am a big hater of Yggdrasil. I think I want to cut a Talisman with maybe with all. I'm not going to Meltdown X equals 2 that often. Maybe if I need to kill a bridge, which I don't care if I kill this. Maybe cut the Chrysali. Could be 61 post board. In my opinion, drop all the breaches. That's kind of an interesting angle. None of them plan to hard cast this stuff. Play Chrysalises and like 2 Trinispheres. Flashfires are for Boros and Flicker. I do think it's that kind of matchup, so I kind of like the. You know, we're against Lantern. Trinisphere seems broken. I mean, I think it seems good. I was kind of struggling to fit it in, but yeah, just cutting all the breaches. I think against Lantern control, weird matchup. I think I'm okay with it. No Green Boseiju by 75. Sometimes it's hard to include Green Boseiju when you're playing a Utopia Sprawl deck that has lots of other utility lands. And if you feel like you'd like to add a Green Boseiju, let me know what card you cut to include it. Yeah, I do know we're kind of light on exile effects. I think that the stirrings help compensate. I played Devourer yesterday and I hated it. I hated how high the curve was. I hated drawing it. And I think that we can afford to try to not have it. Is Ulamog the best option we have? Battleship Lover seems sweet. Yeah, Ulamog is better than Emrakul if you have an Emrakul in exile. Ulamog is crazy. Like through the breach, a leveler, you only get 1 trigger. You can't through the breach. I guess you can velocity Battleship. But it's important that your cards work with both through the breach and velocity. Another Talisman on top. I would like to shuffle first here. And then if I don't like my top card, I think I don't hate the Emrakul. Like, we're just going to cast it at some point. So we'll save the stirrings here. We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. We have a couple Sire in 75. I just the curve needs to be lower. The curve needs to be lower, in my opinion. I think when you add Sire, the curve is too high. This is why I cut the Devourers for Ancient Stirrings. So probably getting the commercial district. So if I can cast Ulamog only off Temple, I'll probably get Temple. Although maybe the ability to Stirrings into Ulamog is good enough. So this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, if I get Eldrazi Temple, I can Stirrings into Ulamog and cast it next turn. So, you know, like, I think the 6 mana is also, again, this is not that big a deal in this build because we have so much acceleration. Aside for Labyrinth, how do we get cards that exile for Ulamog? Mycospawn for Bog, Mycospawn for Lab, K Command Exile, Ancient Stirrings for Lab, Ancient Stirrings for Mycospawn, Ancient Stirrings for K Command. I think is enough. Are they okay? Grafdigger's Cage does literally nothing against me. I boarded out my breaches anyways, but it doesn't even do anything against breach. I don't love shuffling the Emrakul away, but they probably would Pixis it anyways, so let's cast the Stirrings. Maybe we should play this first. No, I need to be able to cast Ulamog. So there's Ulamog, which I guess is gonna get Pixisted. Their deck is actually very fine at finding bridge early. I mean, they have 4 Profane Tutors, so I don't know if I exactly agree with that. This ticks down to 2. Analyze the Pollen is so unplayable. I hate that card so much. Despise that card. Alright, are they going to let me draw the Ulamog? Wow. Okay. Is this just has this won the game? They're down to 23 cards. I don't know. I only milled one Codex Shredder. Oh, I milled two, sorry. Or exiled two. They left in some Fatal Pushes. They brought in Blood Moons also. Good to know. So even though Emrakul is exiled face down, Ulamog is entered with 15 counters. Would that also happen on Magicon or in paper? Was it idea to play Foothills before stirring so you could fetch Emrakul into the deck? I think it was just better to save it for this last turn, where like if they tapped the Pixis, then I was able to like shuffle if I didn't like my top card. But I think it's just good. It's just good to save your fetch lands in general. Okay, they just concede. Well, kind of embarrassing that they just could have tapped the Pixis to stop that from happening, but we'll take it. I think I should have the fourth Trinisphere. I think y'all are right about that. Maybe cut a Chrysalis. Face down card, you are unaware of the card. So yeah, it's weird because like we know what it is because of Lantern, but Judge, I don't know. It obviously doesn't matter in this game, but very very weird rules interaction. So they're on a mold of 6. I think I like having double Mycospawn a lot, and the Trinisphere seems good even on the draw with no acceleration if they have Profane Tutor, and it'll also be really good if I draw Sprawl or Ugin's Labs or Stirrings for either of those cards. They're on a mold of 5. Like with Inverter of Truth and Squee, you can cast Squee while it's face down Bug. Okay. So you're just not supposed to. Okay, well, Trinisphere not going to be good this game. After all. I probably want to actually get basic forest off of this because we know our opponent boarded in Blood Moons, right? So I want to draw that. Get Flash Shred once immediately puts it in. I think it's awesome tech. I was really impressed by it. I put on 3 cards nice, need to defeat a Saga. I might be able to Mycospawn a Saga. Maybe it'd be a little slow. I guess I should probably Stirrings this turn, actually. Okay, so let's get the Chrysalis, I think. This is going to let me cast, like, K-Command through Blood Moon, maybe. The bug has nothing to do with it being previously revealed. Okay, so could you go into more detail on, like, maybe how it's supposed to work or why it works this way? If not, no big deal, of course. All right, so they take my Chrysalis. We draw Emrakul. I think we probably will just be casting this one this turn, getting another Temple. Happy enough that they are drawing another Lantern. They play the other Lantern. There's a Needle on top, not a card that does a lot against me. There's a Misty on top, which we don't mind shuffling away. I'm going to name green again on this, since they, again, have Blood Moons in their deck, although we may be about to kick them off Blood Moon. Very weird first match to play with this deck, obviously. The 6, yeah, we have enough to hardcast Ulamog next turn. You mentioned Lantern a few days ago. Is there a certain card or effect that you think the deck would need to be playable? No, I don't think there's like one specific thing that would just boom bang Lantern's really good. I think like the biggest problem with Lantern as an archetype is that like there are so many insane cards against it that everyone is playing. Like almost every deck has some amount of Meltdown, Wrath the Skies, like these kind of effects. Like I almost can't think of a deck that isn't. I guess we'll set up for Emrakul. I almost can't think of a deck that isn't playing Karn, Meltdown, Collector Oof, like Wrath the Skies, Faded to History. You know, it's like this is the problem for Lantern, is that archetypally your deck is incredibly weak to all the sideboard cards that literally every opponent is playing. It's not a good place to be. Yeah, Force of Vigor. It's like the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. You're also like really weak to Goblin Bombardment. You know, it's like it's not good. The Clarion Conqueror. Yeah, I think the build with like where you would beseech into balance was really cool because you'd play all the artifacts and then, oh man, the build was so cool. But yeah, it's just not a deck that makes a lot of sense, and I think that's okay. Try not to overthink this one too much. So if Affinity was worse, Lantern would be better. Absolutely. Tezzeret established lock almost as fast as the balance deck. That's true. I just thought the balance gave you like a really good reset button, but I don't recommend Lantern is really the sad truth. Gonna mulligan this very high mana value hand. Gonna keep this one. Let's put back probably the second fetch land. And then look for an Eldrazi Temple off the Stirrings. This is maybe a spot where Rumble is just like clearly better. We'll see. Okay, they're on a mold to 6. I mean, I guess I'm also looking for Talisman. Talisman would be really good. So we'll take the lab, and if we rip it imprintable, we're feeling great. Meticulous Archive. Keeps the card on top. Could be Esper or blue-white. We do draw the Eldrazi Temple. Not gonna be probably very fast to throw this K command out there though. All right, probably want maybe it's close here between Mycospawn for another temple or K command Felia. K command Felia probably is right. Yeah, we get to board it in our Flashfires. Right. All right, is K command so good that I'm like gonna just draw a dead card in this forest? I think the answer is yes. I mean, it's not completely dead, of course, but yeah, I think K command is that good that I'm just gonna draw a pretty dead card here, so I can draw another K command. Maybe playing Forest Telegraphs a little too much that I drew it. And me not playing the Stirrings, obviously. What are you gonna do about it? Alright, I do think I'm just gonna keep my spawns in play. I think I actually will keep all 3. Oh, although if they Solitude the Emrakul, it doesn't shuffle. But I want to keep all 3. I don't want to draw the Emrakul next because of Thoughtseize. But if they Solitude, I want to draw another Breach, and so I can try to Stirrings into... I can try to Stirrings into another thing to throw at them. So they start off with an Overlord. They mill a Wisp, an Avid Interrupter, and another Wisp. So if they were missing a white card for Solitude, they now have one. They choose Wisp. I'm the Lantern player. I'm Malding. You exiled all the Shredder and Ashik I brought in case you had Needle and Pixis. Oh, wait, you only had 2. I thought I only actually had 2 Shredder. Maybe I'm misremembering. GG's. Okay, another Overlord. They find a Solitude, so I do think we have the other Through the Breach. We're probably just going to have to tank this, right? Although they choose Quantum Riddler, so they probably already have a Solitude in their hand. We'll find out. Oh, another thing about velocity, or terminal velocity, is that it's a leaves the field trigger, so even if they Solitude it, you still get to Wrath the board, so that can be relevant. I was trying to play to that yesterday off stream, but it didn't end up coming up. Have you ever spliced Arcane Through the Breach? No, I think it's so hard for that to matter. Okay, so our next card is Through the Breach, and then we can try to Stirrings into another big payoff. Their hand is Quantum Riddler. What did they pitch? Did they pitch the Wisp? They did pitch the Wisp. So Quantum Riddler, 3 mystery cards. They main phase push a Spawn. This is maybe in an attempt to get down low enough on cards for Riddler, although they just didn't do that, so... Okay, they did with the Ephemerate, never mind. Okay, so... Please, Ancient Stirrings. Please. I guess I should Surveil first, right? Just one extra look. I choose Emrakul, the Aeons Torn. Let's see if they drew another Solitude and another white card. They also they can chump block, so they can maybe go down to just a single Overlord. They can maybe go down to just a single Overlord and try to win with that, which might be enough. I don't know. No, you don't ever. Quicksilver is so bad. This is not a format where you untap with 4 mana artifacts that don't have indestructible and give you protection from everything. Yeah, fun play to like just I've got an Overlord and I've got a Dream and I've got no cards in hand. With 32 health, seems unlikely to survive. I don't know. I mean, I might just not draw anything and Overlord attacks for 5 a bunch. Although I guess they mill themselves a bunch too. We'll see. I agree that they should play it out. Well. So I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I should get a Temple so that I can get one close to casting Ulamog. It might have been right to wait until they drew a land to Mycospawn. I don't know. We won. I do know that. Let's bring in Flashfires. Very excited for Flashfires. I think when we're going up this high on the curve, I might be interested in going down like 1-1 or something. Although velocity is better than Through the Breach against them because of Solitude. Maybe I cut an Emrakul. Trinisphere good in this matchup. Yeah, I guess making Solitude awkward is good. I think I'm on board. I guess the crystals are kind of mediocre. I think I'm done to play 2. Try it out. Come to this conclusion ourselves, maybe. Yeah, I know everybody is so thirsty. All right, let's get a prediction. Will we Flashfires our opponent this match? Dang, I'm having fun today. Okay, will we Flashfires our opponent today? No, not today. This match. So it could be game 2 or game 3 here. Prediction started. All right, let's keep this on the draw. Yeah, I guess it could have been how many lands too. I think it was a little bit too much, possibly. All right. Goodbye. They did get Watery Grave turn 1. So annoying. The audacity. Although I can maybe Mycospawn them. I'm going to make red for terminal velocity. I can maybe Mycospawn them off of their non-plains lands. And maybe not. They got basic swamp. Why do you hate me, opponent? Why do you hate one-sided Armageddons? Honestly, there's a good. If they don't have anything else, they probably should just hit me for 7 here. Good line, good line. I'm down to 11, and this is a 3-turn clock. We are 1 mana short of terminal velocity being it. Could top deck through the breach. Could top deck K command. Could top deck another Mycospawn. If we draw Flashfires, I guess I would cast it. My opponent is probably thirsting for a Flicker Wisp, although they did not fetch a second white source. 4, 6. Four 8. So I guess if we drew Ulamog, we could cast it by imprinting the Emrakul. So Ulamog, Terminal Velocity, Breach, K Command are the really good draws. Flashfires now a 2-for-1. We're getting hit for 4 down to 7. No other play. I think we might as well imprint the Emrakul. And then maybe my opponent is going to Flicker Wisp here, my Stomping Ground. And maybe they're not going to have Consign when they do that. Is it better to imprint Emrakul for Thoughtseize? You're going to play around. I mean, if they have Break the Ice, I just put it back in my hand. It's there's like there's very little reason to not do this. The reason is like when I need this 1 extra mana, that seems really unlikely. Unless I'm like stopping myself from hardcasting the Emrakul this way, maybe that's the case. 8 plus, I mean, I could still hardcast Emrakul if this resolves. Bummer. So I can cycle that for 2 mana, right? Yeah, I have to do X equals 0, but I can still just draw a card. Oh no, I spent a red mana. Okay, well at least I didn't draw terminal velocity. And where I could have won with it. All right, game 3. On the play. Let's go. Only 1 more game to flash some fires. Flashfires is good against the Blink deck, which is popular, and it also seems like it's probably been good against Boros this whole time, and it's been underplayed. It's kind of my speculation. I think I would probably mulligan this on 7. On 6, I think we're gonna give a speculative keep here. We also have the Flashfires. Cavern maybe. We're just not. They're not counting our creatures very often. Does it have to resolve? I guess I need to see how I worded the prediction. Well, it might break some hearts in chat if they take the Flashfires here. What is this hand? Yeah, it's a bit weird. I think I should keep this instead of going to 5. They took Trinisphere. We drew another Temple. Might be a hardcast Ulamog game. Another Thoughtseize. They took Ulamog, which is interesting. Well, let's draw a green source next turn and start kicking some Mycospawns. Killing their Watery Grave. They got a Plains? Dude, I'm edging chat so much with just no red mana. Fun game, fun game. Yeah, I guess they're maybe setting up to Emperor the Ulamog. They get another Plains. They graveyard Ophelia. They play Ophelia. And they have the Emperor Bones that were dead. Alright, let's see if we would have drawn the red source. Ah! Dang, magic is fun. It says our opponent was last playing Neoform. We do have a kind of a nice hand. It might not be nice enough against Neoform. Let's keep on the draw. So, I mean, we can through the breach on turn 3. We just maybe foolishly lost the die roll. Assuming Emperor works. Yeah, if you Emperor Bones Ulamog, it sees itself. I promise you it works that way. Oh, I guess they were checking for 19 that turn anyways, yeah. Alright, this amount of tanking probably is not great for us. We do have some Trinispheres in the board. So we're going to bring in the Boseiju too. Yeah, the idea is you get more through the breaches. You're also more resilient to Solitude with Terminal Velocity's text of leaving the battlefield, letting you wipe the board. It's kind of an obscure card that I didn't see anybody talk about that I think fits this archetype. So after some thinking, they played an untapped Breeding Pool. Then they put a Rider into play. Then they Neoform the Rider. And what do they get? They get a Galta. And then they put Generosint into play. Oh, I guess we win. I guess they could have a Pact of Negation. Why did they get Galta, not Gristlebrand? I guess if they lose that they have Pact anyways, right? Because they have to, their hand has to be exactly Pact Consign. Okay, one of their cards is a basic forest. I guess maybe like a Neoform on the end, but I didn't have that. I guess they could have Consign for. Oh, they could just have Consign for the K command. But I needed the main phase. Fuck. Okay, they didn't have it. Sorry. That we should be good. I guess, yeah, I mean, they shouldn't. I guess they could have also consigned the Emrakul trigger. They've got 6 permanents. We got Annihilator 6. They got a pause on my upkeep here. So, I mean, if their last card is consigned, they can get me, but they didn't consign the K command. But you're right, consign. We didn't need to play around consign with the main phase. So you might as well keep a spawn token because, you know, they might choose to play it out, right? Emrakul has hit the battlefield. Now we need this Annihilator trigger to resolve. The Force of Negation. They could, I guess. Like, I know we've played Force of Negation in Neoform. It's not very stock. So I wouldn't necessarily expect our opponent to have it very often. But yeah, they could have it. Okay, we're going to bring in the Boseiju over Bog. We're going to bring in the Trinispheres. Going to cut the Chrysali. I think cutting one of the top end ones makes sense too. Top end through the breaches. And we're going to, on the draw, be mulliganing pretty aggressively for either Trinisphere or Utopia Sprawl / Labyrinth. I guess it would just have to be like Lab plus Ancient Stirring so to turn to Trinisphere. They play Odawara. Oh, I guess Odawara would have done it too, huh? They do usually play an Odawara, yeah. Okay, on the draw. Okay, so this hand can turn to Trinisphere if we find it off Stirrings, because we can imprint the Emrakul to Lab, and we can Sprawl on turn 1. So we get 7 looks at it, and we also have Through the Breach Emrakul, of course, so that's going to be enough for me to keep this hand on the draw. It might not be enough, but we don't really have too many hands that are better than this anyways. You know, we were very lucky to win game 1 on the draw. Definitely keeping. They do keep a card on top. Kept it on top pretty fast, too. Preordain. Planar Genesis. Let's go. Nice. We draw a Talisman of Impulse, which does let me cast the Through the Breach next turn, even if I just completely brick off this Ancient Stirrings. Alright, we completely bricked off the Ancient Stirrings. I'm going to not fetch to not shuffle all those dopey cards back in, I guess. We 3-2'd our second league with Ketragoyf, so we're 4-1, 3-2, 0-2, which is 7, and 4 is like totally fine. Nothing too flashy, of course. Alright, well, they didn't get to land off their Planar Genesis. A lot of Modern is just crossing your fingers. Good luck to everyone at the Pro Tour. Good luck to all the finger crossers out there. 7-5? Oh, you're right, 7-5. Still fine, you know, positive record, but nothing too crazy. Not maybe as promising as it looked on Friday. We did punt one of the matches. Could have been 8-3. So they're probably going for it if they're thinking this long. Play a Misty Rainforest, they crack it. Maybe they're gonna play Harbinger. That would be incredible. They just play Harbinger and then die to Through the Breach. Will you ever see us brew Gorios? Yeah. We played a lot of Gorios on this channel, including like the current like Esper Gorios deck that exists, like originated here, the whole like ephemerate your big creature after you Gorios into play. Like that was like a eureka moment on stream that you could do that with Crystal Brand like years ago. You can look at the Mox field and find several Gorios variants, and I don't really think there's like a lot from. I guess like Quantum Gorios is probably something we could play. Yeah, Quantum Gorios probably needs to get done. All right, Eldritch Evolution. They pitched a Traxa and Summoner's Pact. They're tapped out. They do go for Gulta. And they go Gulta Gristlebrand. So we need to dodge Pact of Negation plus Consign. Don't really see much reason to cast this Sprawl. I guess there's no reason not to, though, right? Yeah. If they counter this, they could counter the Breach. Shouldn't really matter. We'll see. It'd be funny if it does. Alright, so they have... I guess they could also find Shoal, too. Only one card in hand. Well, they're about to have a few more. Funny is that Trax would be turning on Ulamog here. So here's the Pact. Do they have lethal? They do have lethal in play, so we'll see if they have the Consign. I can never remember how big Gulta is. 12-12 Trample, apparently. Okay. They haven't consigned it yet. They Summoner's Pact in response to Pact of Negation. Is this to find a Shoal target? Aren't all versions of Gulta? I'm not a Gulta expert. Not a Gulta expert. You know, we've played against Neoform a lot, and it just feels like they always find it off the Gristlebrand. That was maybe the first time they've just bricked. Oh yeah, maybe they're trying to grab Tidebinder, but you can't pack for Tidebinder, that's true. I guess we can keep this on 6 on the draw. We can try to like Stirrings into Lab maybe, or just draw a land. So we're on the draw against an Overgrown Tomb into a Delighted Halfling. Very fun match just now, by the way. I think it's a little greedy to keep a Velocity here. A little bit tempted for some reason. Alright, Grist. Mills Yogg. Just on the draw against classic Yogg start. More things change, the more they stay the same. I don't find my all-important lab here. Forest, or Misty Rainforest. I think I'll take my forest non-Misty today. Thank you very much. This one's really speaking to me. Search your library for a green creature card with mana value X or less. Put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle. I don't know why that one's speaking to me so much. I just think it looks cool. That's the nice thing about art, I guess. It just sometimes moves ya. Not being sarcastic. I don't know. I haven't seen. I don't look at these things usually. I like the touch of like the torn like novel cover. It just looks. I just think it looks so cool. You know what? I should have grabbed the terminal velocity. I think it would have worked out way better this game. I should have listened to my instincts here. Well, maybe I could try to K command into one. Ballista for one. They're gonna kill a spawn. Does that? Because I think killing spawn flips Sephiroth here, right? What is Final Fantasy? I've been trying to figure that out. I still don't really get it. Alright, so we're going to exile Sephiroth and Scry draw. Don't see a lot of reasons to do that now. See, I have 4, 5, 6. Eldrazi. Okay, so I think I don't sack the spawn so I could find just terminal velocity off the K command. Maybe I should have just played the Talisman. Didn't sack the spawn. No, it doesn't make any sense. Oh, you know what? I'm also I just walked into Court of Calling too much by not killing this immediately. Well, just never say no to K command, kids. I think I'm just gonna keep both. Literally can't be that bad to just keep both and try to grind him out a little bit. Yeah. Like, how could this ever be that bad a choice? I am down to only 4 life, and they still have this Sephiroth emblem in play. So like I can't really go for spawns. Maybe that's why, huh? They green sun for 3. And they get an endurance, and then they endurance me. Okay, so let me actually play the Talisman. So if I find only a breach here, I'm still gonna be able to. Although I'm just gonna die when I annihilate them, aren't I? Yeah, I guess I'm just dead to the Sephiroth emblem. Yeah. Yeah, let's go to game 2. Okay, so down a game. Sephiroth. Do I want all the K returns? Do I even want any of the K returns? I almost feel like I kind of feel like I just want to YOLO my main plan here. Yeah, I think I'll just do that. Like the crystals block pretty well, and they also ramp me into other stuff. Let's just run it back. Ever listen to One Winged Angel? No, it doesn't sound like the kind of stuff I usually listen to. Well, I've been trying to branch out lately. I've been, usually I listen to like synthwave or Alaboy or like 2000s rap or like soundtracks. Lately, I've been listening to a lot of Thai music, and I can't recommend any specific songs, but I've just been YouTubing Thai music and just letting it go, and I've been really enjoying listening to that while I'm like writing or streaming. Yeah, I've been listening to Les Mis a lot too. I have a Got an interesting array of taste, I guess. All right, I guess we're gonna go turn 1. Stirrings off of the Talisman. Who's my favorite 2000s rapper? When I say 2000s, like I guess I more so mean 2010s, but Kung Fu Kenny, of course. I guess another Talisman. No, this Surveils. Yeah. You like Bob Dylan? My dad listened to a lot of Bob Dylan growing up, so I can't really tell you too many songs he's done, but I did kind of grow up listening to some Bob Dylan, yeah. 3, 4. Just gonna graveyard that. Thoughts for Fable? I don't think there's really room for Fable. I would play Rumble over Fable if there was like room for another like value card like that. I mean, in this spot, it's nice that we have 7 through the breaches we can top deck instead of 4. We do have to draw one, which is very unfortunate. I guess we want to keep this thing exile for Ulamog still. Now the bad news is we just keep drawing through the breach instead of velocity. Although I guess in this spot it's good because they just damping speared me off of it. All right, I will delete you, opponent. Let's go to game 3. If my book took off, would I pursue writing full time or would you stick with Magic? So I am working on game design. I'm working on a novel. It's nice to like pursue other creative outlets while streaming. So because you can't stream forever. So it's good to pour yourself into other stuff too. If somehow I was able to make a career out of either of those 2 projects, I think I'm interested in streaming forever in the sense that I don't think I would ever fully retire from streaming. I just really like it, and I would just step back from it. I would no longer make it like my main gig. I would probably stream like 2 days a week, and then like write 2 days a week, and take a day off a week, and work on the game 2 days a week. Would be like my dream schedule. I think I might just main phase this scry draw so we can dig for another imprintable, so we can go lab the Ulamog and then set up for the velocity. Yeah, but I guess that's my dream schedule. I guess I could also make a spawn so I could kick the Mycospawn next turn, but I think the Preord or the Surveil is just too valuable. I could also Mycospawn for Bojuka Bog to make Ulamog Annihilator 2, unless they like Grist Mill something that's a bit bigger. Fulminator Mage. I guess that's a bit bigger. Not too much bigger. Want to avoid an Agatha's Soul Cauldron plus creature? Okay, no creature, thankfully. Okay, so this is weird. I think I just get Eldrazi Temple because they're gonna Cauldron their Fulminator Mage anyways. Oh my gosh, they tapped it in response. Unbelievable punt! Catch the punt. Let's go. Let's go. That feels good. So I'm one short of kicking the Mycospawn. I think we'll just cast Chrysalis. If I draw a land, I can Terminal Velocity. If I don't, I can Through the Breach. Although, again, it's only Annihilator 3. Oh, good news. Either was going to be lethal. I just, felt like casting the new one. Okay, let's go play for a 4-1. Game. And I don't know, I just have hit a groove where I just really enjoy doing this stuff. I just really enjoy grinding. I really enjoy trying hard at these creative outlets. It's really fulfilling, and I'm comfortable in this routine now, and I'm lucky I'm able to pursue all of these things, and I'm trying to not take that for granted, and I'm trying to really get them all done. Like, I just really enjoy pouring myself into all of these things and working hard. I kind of at the moment can't imagine living in a different way. Okay, turn 1 Thoughtseize. So I can cast either of these on turn 2. They take the Mycospawn, which is kind of interesting. I feel like the Chrysalis is better here. And then there's also the Through the Breach, which was, I think, a very valid take. So they have 6 cards in their hand. They're playing a Bloodstained Mire. We draw an Eldrazi Temple. Don't think we want to just sack the spawns, hit them for 2 as they do nothing. Let's see. So we also are 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if I drew exactly Eldrazi Temple after I play the Forest, I could hardcast Ulamog. They scour themselves, milling another Scour and a Scalding Tarn, so they're probably playing Reanimator. If they cast an Oculus here, we could Annihilator 1 the Ulamog. Seems kind of weak. Maybe a little bit unlucky that they didn't mill anything with a slightly higher mana value. They're still tapping out, and we could just draw a Stirrings into a big thing, or a K command, or a Mycospawn. Instead, we draw another Through the Breach. I think Breach was lethal there. Well, we still can cast a Breach this turn, so if it was lethal, it still is. I think that you are wrong, though, as I'm pretty sure we just have Annihilator 1. I only see a 1 mana value in exile. So they main phase Surveil. They probably have an Unearth or a Persist in their hand. Then they scour themselves. They mill a Looting and another Scour. There's an Ulamog under Labyrinth, but if we pull it out from underneath Labyrinth, it's no longer in exile, of course. They Fatal Push the Chrysalis. All right, we get another chance. Classic Breach gameplay. Oh, we have another draw. I also... Okay, it's a little weird because I could put this into my hand to hardcast the Ulamog next turn, but I'm just dead, yeah. They Swamp Cycle. I think we block so that we have maybe a higher chance of not dying to them flipping something good here, but also if they like Annihilator 6. Wait, hold on. Okay, they didn't exile Oculus, so big money, I guess. I'm not sure that. I think so. Ulamog is Annihilator 10, so I think they get to keep an Oculus in play, or no, they have to chump block. Okay, draw Emrakul. I just don't think is enough. Yeah, I think I'm just dead on board. If this was unfortunately, if this was Terminal Velocity, it would have wiped the board afterwards, and we would have won the game. Probably, or at least been stabilized. So I wish I was showing that instead of telling that, but here we are. Just nice to at least articulate that, yeah, there even though it's one more mana, there are some upsides, and of course the biggest thing though is just the redundancy. We will make sure that they keep lethal in play, make them have it, make them do it. No, I've been listening to the White Lotus soundtrack. Although on some of the videos I've been watching, people in the comments have been like, White Lotus, White Lotus. Yeah, they did. I mean, they punted here, so let's we'll keep them honest. So we should put the Ulamog in our hand end of turn so that terminal velocity is an out, right? K command would still be an out, or stirrings into K command would still be an out. Although if they like persist this Oculus, which I think that they're going to, then it's just terminal velocity. You know, maybe there wasn't so much stuff I would have realized they put another through the breach. I missed it too. I don't know when it came out in the spoilers. I also missed it. All right, well, it is at least nice that we're hoping to top deck the new card to stabilize. Because terminal velocity wipes the board, or deals damage equal to everything equal to the mana value of the creature. No, stupid through the breach again. And we just don't have a big enough creature here. Annihilator 1. Alright, it should be 4-3 the other way, I guess, huh? Probably not, right? Alright, down a game. Funny top deck. Alright, we'll bring in these. I think I also want to keep in the Bog. I think I'm down to go like -1 spell and -1 land. Let's have that -1 land probably be a fetch. Maybe a Stomping Ground is worse than a fetch because of Harbinger that they could have. I guess I buy that. Too bad it looks like we're not going to Flashfires this league. I can't imagine we want to bring it in here. Writhing Chrysalis? Are there any other big creatures you considered? Nah, these are the two. End of list, really. Yeah, I should have Boil instead of Flashfire. I do think the Flashfire tech is cool. I think you'll see it if I end up playing more red decks that don't play Plains. Seems great against Blink and Boros. Well, snapping this off. When it's on a mull to 6. What made me decide against playing a 4 breach 4 velocity? I mean, the curve's just kind of too high. I also had 4 Devours yesterday. Curve just felt too high. So I feel like just play 7 is a good number. And then I wanted the Chrysalises to bridge the gap a little bit. No, 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 no. Stay with me. No. Is thinking of blue moon list of an old deck 2 boomer. I mean, I don't know exactly what you're asking, but I'll say that I think because terminal velocity costs 6 mana, I think that it to me it seems important. To me, it seems important to play the green-red version, which is much better at ramping into it than a blue-red version. So this extra talisman, I almost like need to protect it to play around Harbinger. Like I almost feel like I don't cast it if they don't tap out here. Okay. We chomp through the consign. We're strategically blanking Thoughtseize. We have 6, 7, 8, 9 mana, so we're 1 short of a hardcast Ulamog. They play a Frog on turn 3. They got 4 cards in their hand, no 3rd land. Might as well protect the Emrakul here and also make top deck Ulamog hardcastable. If they play a Harbinger, we'll put this back in our hand, of course. They discard an Oculus, so that's probably getting unearthed here. So we're looking to draw Ulamog, K command, terminal velocity through the breach. Pretty good range of cards that are great here. You could have a spawn in play, right? You're saying if this was Stirrings instead? Good. Yeah, I think still not sure which is better. Being able to dig for K command just does feel still so good to me. They scour in response. I thought this would be another consign for sure. Boseiju, who shelters all. So we eat their land. I guess they could technically unearth the Harbinger, so we don't want to F6. If you paid for the trigger on consign. Okay, consign to memory is not... When you say paid for consign, consign just, it's not unless you pay one. It just counters. You are mistaken, my friend. They discarded Archon of Cruelty. They would do this even if they didn't have the persist. They discard another one. They would do this even if they didn't have persist. Yeah, no worries, no worries. And they got 4 cards in their hand. No persist. Come on, big money. Terminal Velocity. Although I would take Through the Breach this time. Okay, I think Ulamog is still castable. I take Through the Breach. Alright, dead on board. Okay, so another 3-2. Not that I think we did the best. We didn't cast that many Terminal Velocities, but I think it's a card that was really much not on my radar. I didn't even notice it in spoiler season. It is an option for this archetype. I think these games where I'm dying to top deck Through the Breach and I have almost double of them in the deck is pretty cool. You maybe should play 4. I think it's cool that there was a couple spots where Velocity would have saved us in Breach where Breach wouldn't have, although we drew Breach instead of Velocity. So just a card for y'all to be aware of. A neat find, but I think that is going to be it for me today. Very fun stream, had a great time. I don't know what I'm playing tomorrow. I feel like we are starting to hit the wall a little bit on the edge exploration. I do think Quantum Glorious is something I'd like to work on.